go.
Are you going to introduce it, or or do you? Yeah, go ahead. You're better at this.
Am I really?
Yes, you are.
Well, welcome again. This is another conference call chat, and this is for the Justice for David Crowley and Family Facebook group members. And we're happy to have everybody here, happy to have everyone that is watching, everyone that will watch in the future on our replays. Maybe Jaime may stream it on his show too, but we have Catherine, obviously, who helped set all this up, and Sophia is here, and then Jaime is also here, one of our newer members. Jaime, you're a new member, I believe, to the group. Is that right? Or have you been a member, just one of the many thousands of quiet members that we have in our group here?
Yeah, I've been a member for a while, actually, since the first time we actually spoke on Sentinels of Truth show with you and Dan Hannon.
Oh, wow. That's a long time ago. Okay. Yeah. All right. So that's years.
So why have I only just now heard of him?
I tell you, there's a lot of silent members. A lot of great people.
I'm not silent. Yeah, I'm not silent.
You're not silent. You're not silent. No, you're not silent. No, maybe that silent is not the correct term for that. But we are happy to have you here, Jaime. What kind of brought you into this whole case? What got you started with it?
Okay, the reason being, I've always been very intrigued by unsolved /murder cases, and I've always been like none of us here is like expert investigators, but we've tried to question the narrative of every single thing and whatnot. The biggest one I was looking at before I got into David Crowley, there was a massive thing in Western Australia, because I lived in Western Australia, called the Claremont serial killer. And I was living in Claremont, and this person just gone to prison for life of 2 of the murders. The third body has never been found, but he has been found guilty, but not guilty of murder. And I was there at the time when the first, all the bodies, all the women was taken away. They were abducted in the middle of the night and whatnot. So this is why I'm in the David Crowley thing, because when we spoke to you, well, actually when Eric and there was another gentleman that spoke to you, we haven't seen that gentleman for ages. I don't know what happened. That you were on a show with Eric, Greg, I think Dan Hannon was. There was another gentleman that brought this to the Sentinels of Truth. Yeah. And I was watching that as a listener at the time, and you and Dan were showing all the evidence that was presented to the audience, and I'm saying this is what I've been always doing here in Australia, just trying to, crime, when it comes to crime or murder, the biggest one here in Australia is the Beaumont children. They haven't been seen since they've been taken away, and they were taken away just down the road from where I'm actually living, here in Adelaide. And that's an unsolved case that's been about 60 years ago, over 60 years ago. So you guys opened my eyes a lot more, and I'm saying, okay, I'm coming in the deep end now. I'm getting my feet wet now. So I love crime. I'm not saying that I love crime. What I'm saying, I love to get into the mind of the perpetrators. What made them do the job that we've all seen, and what made them click. Now, I'm not saying that David Crowley is guilty, but when you look at the evidence and the inconsistencies surrounding it, what was going in the mind of this person, what was going in the mind of that person, and all of us here, you can all agree, we've been called whack jobs for the investigation that we've been exposing to the general public. And you taught me a lot, and these 2 wonderful ladies, Sophia and Catherine, I had you guys on last night on my show. You guys brought something else to the table that I did not actually see myself. And I'm not saying I'm an expert, but geez, what you guys are doing, it's just such refreshing and such touching, and hopefully getting a different set of eyes on it from the outsider looking in, like me from Australia, maybe it can help a little bit too.
I hope so. I'm sure we all do. I mean, that's been the biggest thing, is to just try to, I still feel like there's a lot of people that have never heard about this case. There's so many different cases, so many different murder things. I mean, I look at all of these different cases, but sometimes I'll go back and I'll just kind of look at run a search. And there's so many different cases that I just have never heard of. Now, I've never really heard of a case like this one. I do believe this one is a little bit different, a little bit special. There's something, there's a lot of different layers to this case, and there's so many different factors to it that even with all of the things, I feel like the reason why I latched on to this case so much is because this is a slam dunk case. I always felt like this is a slam dunk case. Some of these other cases is like, oh man, you kind of think something happened, you kind of think, and usually it points to a certain person, like with maybe Chris Watts, or the Peterson story, or some of these stories. You kind of look at the husband and you're like, okay, yeah, that guy probably did it, and now let's just wait and let's see what happened. But with this case, even though I really had no suspects or anything like that I could point to, even at this late stage here, there really isn't one that I would tell the police, hey, police, this is your guy, go and get this guy, go and get that guy. But to me, it's a clear slam dunk case, because it's different where they are accusing somebody who is dead, who can't really speak for himself. Nobody's speaking up for him. Everybody is just supposed to just act like David Crowley is just guilty, and that's it. And it's just crazy the way that you see the big flip of all of these conspiracy theorists, all these people who are looking at the alternative theories, following David for years, and a lot of them just kind of flip over and like, yep, the guy's guilty, let's just not even talk about it. And so it was just like, wow, like this is such a slam dunk case, why aren't you guys talking about this case? And I think that's what has kept me going with this case here too.
I think the main problem with a lot of cases around the world is the trial by media. Like
yes.
You're guilty before you actually go into a courtroom. And this is a problem. You're guilty to proven innocent. And this is where the whole thing about David Crowley is that people are assuming that he's guilty of this. The question that all of us here have tried to question it, can you prove under any reasonable doubt that David Crowley is 100% guilty? The answer to that question is no.
Right.
You cannot prove under any shadow of a doubt that David Crowley is 100% guilty. With all the evidence that is there, that you have provided to the audience, Greg, you cannot prove he's 100% guilty. And this is what we need to, this is what I've been trying to say on my show. The trial by media is the major downfall of this case. You've got people just saying, no, he's guilty. If the media say he's guilty, well, therefore, that's the narrative that I'm going to believe. Well, if you start looking at the anomalies that we've been presenting, it does not add up. It's just 100%. Now, we can sit here all day and say, these conspiracy theories, they need to get their head out of the sand, but that's up to them.
True. Yeah.
But what I like about this case is that you're asking questions. You're not saying this is a clear-cut review. You're just asking questions, and we may never know the answer. But the longer we continue this, maybe there'll be some stone that hasn't been unturned, you know what I mean? There'll
Absolutely.
be some things that we haven't seen just yet. And hopefully that comes. Hopefully that comes.
Yeah, and we all agree, and we all are hoping for that same thing. And before we go any further, I really want to kind of make a public apology to our group and to the YouTube listeners and everything. because I have fallen prey to the drama that has been created by others from another group. Again, I've said this a million times, I don't care that they have an opposite opinion. That's fine. They are entitled. In fact, that's kind of what makes the world go round, is having everybody think differently, feel differently. It's great. But when I start allowing someone else's negativity to then rule my response, that's kind of where I have to take the blame and take the fault. I have been receiving emails from a few people saying, hey, what's going on with your group? I didn't sign up for this. I don't like reading all this drama. If this is what it's about, I don't want to be a part of it. And so I've had to apologize to these people, and they're right. So from this point going forward, at least from my perspective, I'm not going to even engage any drama. If they have, if they ever want to come on, or if they post a question, and it's an honest question without attitude, without accusation, absolutely. I think any of us would be willing to answer that, or at least to have a discussion. That's fine. But if somebody starts from this, if I see negative comments, I'm not going to respond in kind. I'm going to be a little bit more mature. And so again, to all those who have sent me emails and said they didn't like what was going on, you're 100% correct. What was going on was not okay, and we're done with that. We're really going to refocus the group to being just geared toward finding anything we can about the case. We said it a million times. If there's absolute proof David was guilty, and we find that, I don't know of anybody who would not change their mind and say, okay. But until that evidence is provided to us, we're only going by the evidence given, and the evidence given says David is not guilty. So.
Yeah, I want to make a public announcement too. This week I've been probably putting some fuel in the fire, unintentionally. It wasn't my intention. For many people that don't know, I had Greg Fernandez on last Friday on the Southern Truth Show with Eric Wilkinson, Bill Grant, and myself. And then 4 days later, that's when all hell broke loose from, I don't want to mention their name, there was another group of people. But me, being a sense of humorous person, I was taking it as a joke, and I was just poking a stick at the bear, just a little bit. And I know Greg's been saying, don't talk to them, Jaime. They're bad people. I wasn't talking to them. Excuse me. I wasn't initially talking to them. I was giving a little bit of a drip feed of why I was banned on Twitch. I've been banned on Twitch for 30 days, and I was disappointed in that, because I built that platform and my audience so well, and we're a tight unit, tight unit. Over 17 countries worldwide is tuning in weekly on Twitch. Now that's all gone for 30 days. I can get over that, but that's not the moral. When you have all the jealousy, all the bittering, that their truth is their truth and nothing else. What we talk about here, they squash it. They say, oh, you're a fraud, you're all this. And I've been called a fraud all week this week. But I think what I did 2 nights ago, when I had one of the, I just out of the blue just invited one of these people on the panel, and I gave her 5 minutes, and that was, she left. She was the one that left. She stacked the 2 birds up at me. She left. I made a call. I blocked them all now. I just deleted it. I just completely just blocked them all out. So I wish them well. That's all I'm going to say. I wish them well. Continue what you're doing, but don't use social media to make yourself look like you're, to me, what they said to me, I'm not going to repeat what they said, but they make them look like an idiot. That's all I'm going to say about that. And, I didn't just poke the bear with a stick. By the end of it, I whacked the bear over the head with the sticks, and I just left. So I just want to say I apologise for putting some extra fuel in the fire. It wasn't drama on my part, it wasn't intention, but getting all the stuff sent to me like all the emails like you guys got, and I've been getting that too, and say, Jaime, you know, where's the drama coming from? Well, it started because I now have got confirmation, and I know, Greg, you haven't heard this, but I have now received confirmation from the person who actually did report it and got me banned on Twitch. I have got that confirmation, but that's her business, and I'm just moving on, and I'm looking forward to continue on what we do here. You know, I mean, yeah, that's all I've got to say.
Okay, and so today's whole thing was supposed to be an open mic. Now, a lot of people, well, okay, 16 people, however many voted, who stated that they wanted to participate, and as we can see, they're not here. And unfortunately, I really think a lot of that is due to the difference in time zones. Trying to set up a right time, and I obviously failed. So for all of you overseas, I'm really sorry. But please, next time, put in a time, your time, which works best for you, and then we will try to accommodate that. But I did hear from we heard from William Rail, and he actually is doing another podcast of his own today, so he couldn't join us. Allison Bradley, I believe was her name. She said that she had a previous lunch appointment. She really wanted to be here, but she can't make it either. So she's like, I'm really sorry, I wanted to be there, but she had a previous engagement. And then also the other person is from the other person who cannot be here because they're sick. They're homesick with the flu, is Jason Howard Mostiller. Now, Jason wanted me to give his opinion, and he said, all I got to say is there is no way under the sun someone can kill themselves and be in his spread out positioning, period. And he really wanted his thoughts on that to be brought out. And so, Greg, what do you think about Jason's comment?
Yeah, I think that's a great comment. I think that's what a lot of people are thinking, like, there's no way. And they find, you know, just these simple things. It's just like, yeah, there's no way that this could have happened. Another person finds another, no, there's no way this could have happened. No, there's no way this could happen. And that's what's so great about this group, is so many different people, so many different views. And when I look at it all together, it's like, wow, you have all these little puzzle pieces that show you why it could not happen. And that's what's so great about, you know, giving people a platform to where they can express their views, whether it's just in comments or whether it's on video or whatever they want to do. It's so great to have. We have almost 4,000 people in this group. That's just in the group. That's, you know, that doesn't include everybody else who is doing their own thing and looking into this case too, that we may never really hear from. So that's what I think. I just think it's been so, you know, it's been humbling in some ways to kind of look at it, and it really does kind of make you just kind of want to look at some of these other views too. You know, somebody brings it up, they bring up these other views, and I try to keep an open mind to all of these different things, including the fact that, or including the theory that David could be guilty. But it's like, you know, if the police can't say it, if the police can't prove it, it's really hard for me to think anybody else is going to be able to. So that's kind of always been another thing. And then you have people that are kind of pushy towards their theories. And even back in 2015, because you guys talk about this drama that has come up, and that's not the first time this stuff has come up. There's been cycles, I guess, and I'm hoping this will be the last cycle of it. Because obviously, you know, people are not coming to the group for the drama. They can go to other groups for drama if they want to do that. The purpose of the group is to get justice for David Crowley and his family, and so that's what we're going to continue to do. I'm glad that I'm hearing everyone wants to refocus their efforts to that. Sophia and I have actually been talking about that too, and talking about putting together kind of a little series of different videos, short videos for people who just want to kind of get caught up on a certain aspect, because there's so much to it. We get new people. The group is really best for new people that really are coming into this saying, what the heck, you know, okay, I've heard about David Crowley. Now let me really dig deep into it. And the group needs to be a place where people can go there, ask questions, find videos, find documents, and kind of it's a jumping off point. And I've always thought of the group as a jumping off point. And then people jump off. Sometimes they jump off. They jump off to other things. They come back. We have a lot of people that'll contact me, hey, I've been gone for years, blah, blah, blah. We got family stuff. I mean, with the COVID thing and everything, I was really shocked that we were even still getting new people because people can't pay their bills right now. People are having so many problems, just personal problems. And to kind of come in here and to really help out, they have enough drama. So they don't want that drama, they don't need any extra drama. And I'm sure we all don't either. We don't want it. We're not asking for it. But you know what? The drama is going to come, but it's all about how you deal with it. So,
now, Greg, I've got a question for you. That it's not me personally. I'm trying to ask you a question from a person that's just looking at this case firsthand. Why do you think the police cannot prove that David Crowley is guilty for one, even though they're the ones that actually did the investigation themselves?
That's a great question. Kind of a loaded question, I think, there, too. Why can't they prove David Crowley guilty? Because they don't have the evidence to prove David Crowley guilty. Now, they've looked for it. They spent a whole year looking for it. They simply do not have it. Why they would stick to it? Maybe that's the better question. Why are they sticking to their theory even though they can't prove him guilty? That's a whole nother issue that I don't understand personally. I don't understand. It's like you guys know that you cannot prove him guilty. You have no motive. You can't tie him to anything. You can barely tie him to that gun. You can barely tie him to the whole crime scene. And he lived there, and his DNA should be everywhere. His blood should be everywhere. I mean, if you can't do that, why stick to the story? And I think it comes from the very top. I don't believe that a lot of the people that were involved in the investigation really believe David Crowley is guilty. I really don't. I mean, I think a lot of them are just kind of going, they have a job, they got pensions, they got families, so they're just kind of going along with it. And, I hope that kind of answers the question somewhat.
Yeah, because I was looking at it from this standpoint. There are probably some officials in the police department that use the Fifth Amendment not to answer the questions. And when it's been dripped down to the lower rank of the investigations, they've been put a gag order. Even if they choose not to believe the investigation, there's been a gag order in place. And Catherine was mentioning that, I think it was Dan Hannon that was trying to get in to talk to one of the investigators that was at the place, and he was saying, I need to talk to my boss. And then when the boss came back to him, he said, I can't talk about it. So it looked like it's a massive gag order. Yep.
And there's probably a gag order on many of them. And that's what usually happens. Even Gummert, even after the case closed, they were like, oh, the case is closed and we're not talking about it. We're not speaking to anybody. Like, what do you mean you're not speaking to anybody? You owe the public something. You owe them to at least say, okay, you say that the public is not in any danger. You at least owe them an explanation as to why. If the public is not in any danger, then it should be a slim dunk case for them to prove David Crowley guilty. So they can't have it both ways by saying, well, we couldn't find any evidence that nobody else did it, so it must be David. Like, what? I mean, that is just going to open up the door for any copycat killers that want to do something similar. You're now encouraging all of that. It's just a bad practice. But yeah, I think there's so many different layers to it, and that's why it's good to keep the case open, because something will happen, somebody will slip up, something will keep us going. I mean, look at this. Look at how far we've gotten. It's like every year or so, something new comes up, and if we weren't here talking about this, that probably would not happen. There's somebody out there. There's people out there that want to speak, that want to get the truth out. They're going to bed every night knowing that this is not right, that there's way more to this. I haven't heard from Sophia in a while.
Well, I was muted for a while because the kids were so loud. But
okay.
They left now.
It sounds good now. Okay, it sounds good.
But with the exceptionally cleared, that's just kind of a cop-out. It's just like, well, we can't find the motive, like Greg was saying. We can't find why this happened, but we supposedly looked into everybody and at all the angles, and David was the only one guilty. But the thing is they didn't do any DNA tests on anybody besides the victims. They didn't run all the DNA samples that they collected. So my guess is the killer's DNA is in the kitchen, for sure, in the kitchen, on that tile floor and the dishwasher. And I believe that there is some on the living room, the wooden floor area, but we'll never know because that was all never tested. If they took samples, it's sitting there in the evidence box, but it'll never, as far as we know, will not be tested. And that right there could tell us for certain if David was guilty or if there was another person in that house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I want to kind of expand a little bit on the exceptionally cleared. I think a lot of people might be a little confused as to what that means. I mean, people who listen and are part of the group, because I think you guys have a pretty good grasp on it. Exceptionally cleared is because their main suspect, David, was not alive, so they couldn't charge him, quote unquote, charge him with the crime. So they're, in their minds, because they didn't do any other DNA testing, they didn't find out who the other major contributors to the blood samples were that they found that they did test, and so because their only person that they were looking at is dead, they can't charge him. So by law, the legal term is they have to exceptionally clear the case because there's no one to now prosecute. And like Sophia was saying, that is a complete cop-out. And I would like to show this. Let me see. Do I just share my screen? Because I want to show an article. Okay.
Yeah. Click on share. That should share.
Share desktop. There we go. Start sharing. Okay, and okay. Everybody sees this, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Filmmaker left message in wife's blood. And this is an article written.
We can see your desktop right now.
Okay. So you're seeing this article, right?
No.
We're just seeing the water. We're just seeing your. We're actually seeing your home page.
Okay, hold on. What am I doing wrong? As always, what am I doing wrong?
Open up Chrome if you can. Click on that, see if that open. No, okay. So go back to the share.
Okay, I'm trying to get there. What? Oh, more. Oh, there it is. Share. Gotcha.
Okay.
Select items to share.
There you go. Look for the Chrome browser.
Oh, there we go.
Share that one. Yeah.
There it is.
Perfect.
There you go.
Okay, you seen it now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Okay, so here you see it's the TwinCities.com Pioneers Press, an article. Filmmaker leaves message in wife's blood before 3 found dead, Apple Valley police say. And as you're reading through this is the article, and this is why I keep quoting this, because it's written here, and the police never, ever corrected this. It says, despite the grisly scene, investigators concluded within 2 hours that David Crowley was the one who pulled the trigger of the .40 caliber Springfield handgun found next to his body.
Wow.
And I'm just like, okay, yeah, how can you guys, how can you even say that?
Yeah.
Well, that's true. I mean, we were talking just before this program about the dingo ate me babies scenario. They did not prove that the family or the dingo was guilty within 2 hours. That took years of investigation.
Yeah.
So if you want to break the Guinness Book of World Records, I think this is the cream of the crop. 2 hours investigation. Yeah, he's guilty.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. How can, Greg, you brought up a great topic on the show last week when you came on the Southern Truth, that there was one major evidence with the armchair in the lounge room with the blood on it was never tested for DNA, never tested. And yet they can still prove that David Crowley is the suspect. Now, let's do a hypothetical question. If David Crowley was indeed guilty, what would you think would be the motive behind it?
I think there would be a couple of them, I guess. It could be, really trying to think with an open mind here about this, thinking about the motives that I've heard, what people have thought put forth, but just taking that out of it and just looking at what could have motivated him. I don't really know, man. I mean, they say that because he snapped, that was one theory that I heard. He was jealous. Kamel was going to leave him. I've heard that one. Those may be the only two. Maybe there was a paranormal. There was a demon inside of him, or he thought that he looked at Kamel, looked at his daughter, and thought that they were demons, and he accidentally kills them. Those are probably some of the three that I would say, man, I don't know. And even those are really hard to to put forth. But that's a great question. It's a great question. Anyone else have any thoughts on that? I'm going to try to think of some more answers.
Well, and go ahead.
Go back to the exceptionally cleared.
Yes.
The police gave that title or that classification at the very end of the case. He was never found guilty in a court of law.
Correct.
Until then, it's just technically what the police said, but that could always be proven wrong in the
Correct.
future if we did some tests. So
Correct.
it could be proven wrong. As for motive, the only thing I can think of is that he was crazy. But you're reading the journal and stuff like that, and he doesn't seem crazy. He seems driven. He wants to do this. He wants to go to California. He loves Kamel, and yes, he did have issues with Ronnie every now and then, but he seems to have resolved that and was looking towards the future with her and making plans for the future with her to do things.
Yeah, didn't he say he wanted to create something special for her 18th birthday?
Yes, like a family tree type of thing, both on Kamel's side and his side, and that kind of thing. So, and I think that was great, How many kids get that?
Right.
So.
Yeah, now they have all of these apps that'll do it all for you, pretty much. But I don't know if they had that stuff back then. But that's what's so great about his journal is you can read it as a timeline. Some people will read some of those things that David Crowley said about his daughter and stop there, not going forward, not saying, okay, well that's everything just kind of stopped there. But you can also read all the stuff where David is being honest with himself and saying how he needs to get over that stuff, to get over those feelings. But I think it's just and that's why it's good that everybody has the journal to kind of read, because you can read the whole thing in the proper context without just getting one little narrow clip of it and just saying, oh, okay, well that must help prove that he's guilty or something. So I like that question though. That is an awesome question. Go ahead.
Can I ask a question though? Have any of you been around a 4- and 5-year-old who is extra and by the end of the day you're frustrated and frazzled and you need to let go of whatever is going on? And for David, he wrote it down, and those were probably very real feelings at that second that he wrote it down, but there's nothing saying how he felt afterwards. Did he go in and cuddle with Ronnie afterwards? Did he, did he feel guilty about it afterwards? We don't know. But I know for a fact that the 5-year-old or the 4-year-old living in my household right now who is ADHD, ADD, and autistic. And we were switching meds last weekend, and I swear to God I wanted to strangle him because he was so off the wall. And I feel horrible about the feelings that I had at that time, because that's not how I really am around him. I love him to death. But he drove me bonkers. He drove his mother bonkers. And I could tell that he was miserable too. But we don't know the whole story. We only are seeing what David wrote in the journal. And to judge him on just one journal entry, that's a pretty crappy person to judge.
Well, yeah, and not only right, exactly, and not only that, we have to remember too that therapists, today tell everybody, journal, right? Write it down. Write down your emotions. It doesn't matter. Be honest. Write it all down. So here he's doing exactly what therapists tell everybody to do today, and you've got people condemning him for writing his honest feelings that got him through the moment. And there are people who will go and nitpick at, well, he was angry or he called her this or whatever. I don't know how many times I've called my kids, you little shits, you better fucking knock it off, right? I mean, there's going to come a point in every parent's time where you're going to go, knock your shit off before I knock your head off. Okay, that doesn't make me a bad parent. It makes me an honest parent. And that's how I see David. He was writing his emotions down, getting, like you were stating, getting him through the time, journaling his thoughts, never, ever in his wildest dreams thinking, okay, the public one day is going to see this, and now they're going to judge me based on this. He's writing something he thought would forever be personal and no one would have access to. So there are those who will go and nitpick that journal entry or this journal entry, but then they fail to look at the videos of him sitting on the swing with her as they're going in circles, and she's like, yay, daddy, and the moments where you see them loving each other. And there's the one video clip, and I'm sorry, I'm laughing, and to me it was hilarious, where Ronnie is downstairs in the basement having her tizzy fit, and David opens the door, and as soon as she sees him, she stops, right? I used to do this. My daughter was notorious for this, right? She would get so mad at me. She'd go in her room, she'd slam the door, and she would be going, I hate this. You're so mean to me. And I'd be sitting outside recording, and I'm laughing my butt off. And then I open the door. I'm like, really? Why are you saying? And then she'd like scared. No, Mommy, I didn't mean it. It's hilarious. Okay, a lot of us do stuff like this to screw with the kids who are just being bratty. And so when I'm looking at that, I don't see that as abusive. I see it as pretty freaking funny, because Ronnie all of a sudden stopped her crying fit when she saw that her dad was watching her. Mm-hmm. And so to take, like you guys were saying, to take stuff like that completely out of context without looking at the entire picture of how his life was as a father, as a husband, and as a screenwriter, and the dude just had so many stresses on him. And I am not justifying, because yes, some of the things he said made me go, oh, okay, now that puts you in jerk mode. But at the same time, I understand that jerk mode because I've been there myself, right?
I think that's a major point, because when I look at David Crowley as a person, there are two characters. There's a professional side, and you've got the family side. Maybe being a devil advocate, the professional side did cross over to the family, but what I saw with David was he was trying to keep those two things separate from each other, but keep the family as a unit and try to get them involved in some way, whether bring them into the realm of the professional side just a little bit. But no, David wanted them to separate. He wanted his professional life, the screenwriter and everything, one, and the family side. And this is where a lot of people would not see the difference. The family life is completely different to his professional life. Mm-hmm. And they are judging his professional life as a whole. And right. This is where I come with this hypothetical theory that if he has a motive, he was under so much pressure in his professional life trying to get the deal with the movie script. and he couldn't get that. Therefore, he took it out on his trip. But that doesn't add up. That does not add up either, because there's so many things that comes into play, and it just takes you on a track of other directions. So yeah, separate the professional life and the family life away from each other, and you'll see David as a complete gentleman. Yeah, he had problems. Yeah, David Crowley had problems. I'm not disputing.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. But to separate your work life from your family life, it can be difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and even the police themselves couldn't come up with a motive, so they just said, "Oh, well, he must have snapped." Well, okay, if you really know anything about psychology, you know there's no such thing as just snapping. You don't take somebody who's completely normal and then all of a sudden they slaughter their family. That's some mythical concept that is used to justify a situation you have no answer for. So like Sophia was saying earlier, it was the easy way out, the lazy man's answer. And so there's nothing about his behavior that says he's snapping, and the police themselves, no motive. We can't find a motive.
Right.
So if there's no motive for him, then why is he your suspect?
Right.
Well, they also were saying that they couldn't find any evidence of like a break-in or a robbery and stuff. Well, you don't need a robbery to kill somebody, number one. Number two, the sliding back door was unlocked and opened.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, fourth of an inch, but still.
Right.
So you could have a break-in technically without showing signs of a break-in, although Jaime thinks that the front door could have been Jimmy's. So,
well, and two, and if and not accusing, but if it's somebody he knew and they come knocking on the door, you open the door and you let them in. There's no forced entry, but all of a sudden now you're overwhelmed by 2, 3, 4 people, and I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just giving a scenario. So I've never understood why this whole forced entry thing even is a topic, unless it actually is forced entry. You see a door kicked down, well then he's like, okay, they gained entrance by forced entry.
Well, then they're also saying that there's no signs of a struggle either. We have a bullet in the basement. We have a bullet in the ceiling. We have an injected, unfired bullet on the ground. There's chaos on the living room floor, but there's no signs of a struggle.
Well, going back onto the forced entry, I think I'm the one that brought it up a lot this week. When you look at the front door and you look at the lock there where the handle is, and I saw just on the woodwork what may look like it's either a screwdriver or a crowbar mark where you jim the door from the outside in. I'm not saying that is the case, but the photographs tell me that door's been altered with. Therefore, I've got questions about that. Did David was trying to fix the door previously? Was that a fixed job? Like he had a problem with the front door before? Did he put a new lock there? I don't know. But the police took that photograph, and there was a reason behind it. They must have saw the exact same thing that I saw, that lock on the front door, that's been played with. Who did it? We don't know.
Right.
Because there has to be an entrance way and there has to be an exit way. In my opinion, the exit was the back door, the entry was the front door.
That's highly possible, yeah. Absolutely. And I'm going to share my screen again because, Jaime, I wanted to show you the photos. Remember we were talking last, let me get this again. We'll do that. Oh my goodness, that's not it. Where's the other one? Okay, I'm trying to find this, see if it, okay, there it is. Here we go, I'm going to start sharing this one. Now, remember we were talking about the presents?
Last night, yes, we'll talk
about here they are. Here are the photos, and this I got from Dan Hannon's site, uglytruth.info. There's one of them, and then we see what it is. This is from supposedly Danny. And then that's what that gift was.
Yeah.
And then the bag.
And there's a check. There's a
Right.
there's a check.
Mail, I guess that was inside the bag. That was a bill, an invoice.
Yeah.
And then a flashlight, which is weird. And then...
Wounded Warriors. Well, Wounded Veterans, Wounded Warriors.
Yeah, they sent him something. They were looking for help. Your help is needed now for returning heroes. So it looks like just basic standard junk mail. But here's another present, and these are the markers. And then the map.
The bazooka.
And it was a map. So see, that's really all that was on the front porch besides the check. Oh, then that's
And the big target posted targets.
Yeah, the targets.
I think we were talking about this last night too, Catherine and Sophia, about this magazine. I think we were talking about that magazine. There was. If you go back to that magazine photo.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me go back to sharing, because I stopped sharing my screen, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We were talking last night about the magazine, and you mentioned about this magazine as well. If you look at the chamber.
Okay, hold on. I have to get this page selected. Oh, come on, computer. What are you doing? I should never try to do things on the fly. Okay, there we go.
It's so much fun on the fly, though. It feels real.
And yeah, there you go. That was a magazine. So was this the one that you were talking about last night? You were talking about the magazine because, yeah.
Yeah, I believe this is the one that they might have taken out of the safe. And if you see, this only has 11 rounds loaded, and which fits with the magazine that was actually in the gun. There were only 11 rounds in that one as well. So when I spoke with several of the professional shooters, you see them on TV. My son hangs out with these guys. And so I asked them about this, and they say that it's not uncommon because if you constantly load it full capacity, it puts a strain on the spring inside the magazine and it makes it wear out faster. So a lot of them will opt to load the magazine with one less than what capacity is. So 12 round capacity, it's loaded to 11.
Very good point. Very good point.
And so let me see.
And the other one that they found in the lounge rooms had a different type of scenario too, altogether.
Right. And can you guys see this photo? I don't know if you
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Of the skull piece, right?
Yep.
Okay, and this is what I wanted to show you and what I was talking to you about last night. Here, this is skin. If you can see my over here in the lower left. Mm-hmm. This, and you see it's straight. We have straight edges.
Yeah, it's been cut by a knife.
This is not bitten, pulled, or anything. So what else makes straight edges like this?
A knife.
We have a knife at the scene, and with all three of their DNA on it, and we can clearly see this was not bitten, this was not pulled, but yet the lines are perfectly straight. And yeah.
So there's a lot of things that the investigators did not do. They did not do DNA on the couch, anything. I mean, they also had to come back and take a photo of the bullet hole near the front door. They missed it when the first time, and took a photo the second time. But
they had to come back twice, right? So they come back on January 19th, January 20th,
yeah.
Right? So 20th, yeah. And then they had to come back 1 month later. So I mean, we have three
right.
crime scenes in one home. It's crazy.
And that gives you plenty of time to change the scene.
Yeah, and I mean, those are big things. Like, if they would have come back and found a little thing or that, but like, they're coming back and finding things that are necessary to their case. That without it's like, 2 acts of God of finding these 2 bullets. Without that, their case would have been completely massacred. I think we've pretty much massacred it now, but it would even be even more weird. And it may even cause the media, the trial by media, it may force them to say, okay, well, yeah, we have to look into it now, you know.
But that just answers the question. They did an investigation and proved him guilty within 2 hours, but yet turned up at the crime scene on 3 different occasions. You can't make it up.
Exactly.
They proved him guilty within 2 hours, but
returned to the crime scene 3 times. Was that 2 hours with, like, 2 hours of them getting there, 2 hours of the BCA, 2 hours after they walked through the house? Do you know?
Well, let me share the screen and show you the article, and then you know, we can. Let me take that off. Filmmaker, okay, and go here. All we can do is just say, despite the grisly scene, investigators concluded within 2 hours that David was the one who pulled the trigger. 6 days later, the medical examiner's office confirmed the deaths. So it had to have been at that time frame, 2 hours within walking through that front door, how I'm reading this. They decided that David was the one who did it.
That's right.
Well, so would the first responders be considered investigators, I guess? Because
no.
If not, then I would say then when the detectives show up, which is about 2 hours later. So
yeah, within 2 hours of the investigators walking within the crime scene is how I am reading this to understand how this is being stated. Yeah.
And yet they haven't done the investigation yet. Like I said,
no.
The investigators came back to the crime scene on 3 separate occasions, but the first time that they rocked at the scene, they plead him guilty within 2 hours. You just can't make this up.
I mean, shouldn't you wait for the medical exam? They're not even waiting for the medical examiner to show up before they're saying, before they're concluding David Crowley. Yeah. The medical examiner doesn't show up until, what, 12 a.m. that night?
12:45, yeah.
I mean, and that's why there's been so many speculations. That's why there's been so much theories about, wait a minute, you know, it should not be this open and shut so quickly. You guys haven't done any investigating yet. So, I mean, the fact that, you know, there's like this, why anybody would think that there would be a big deal of people questioning this, there really shouldn't be. The whole media should be questioning it. I mean, who is supposed to question the police's theory? It should be our media. And if the media doesn't do it, if the media fails, which in this case they all did, they all wrote something, but all they did was just regurgitate what the police said and moved on to some other cases, instead of sticking to it and asking relevant questions.
Exactly, and every single one of them, including the police, totally bypassed the fact that when they left that day, the only fragments that they had that had human DNA, those 3 fragments that contained the human DNA, all 3 of those bullets were tied to Kamel. So they left saying David was guilty without a fragment with his DNA on it and without the fragment that had Rania's DNA. They didn't find Rania's until on the 20th. And then the item 57 with David's DNA, which we know was not blood, was not tissue, was not hair, was a month later, all of a sudden. Now, conveniently, they find this one. And so it's like, how are you determining that this man did this when you have no evidence that you even show he died there, other than his body lying on the floor? There's no blood. There's nothing of him in that house. How is he guilty? He would have been the last one to die, so his brain matter should have been all over that window. But it's not there. Nothing's there.
Catherine, can you also please explain how we believe that his body was moved?
Oh, sure. Let me, while Jamie's giving his idea, I'm going to go back and
what I can see with this statement here, the investigator concluded within 2 hours. That means those investigators did not treat this as seriously as what they made it out to be, because there's, like we said, they didn't do the investigation thoroughly. They didn't do the DNA testing thoroughly. This was just like, hey, he's dead, let's move on to the next job. But I say that before, if this is a Guinness Book of World Record of how to prove someone guilty within a crime, this takes first spot, because you cannot determine if someone's guilty or not within 2 hours. And look at all these photos. I mean, this is what, the second or third time that that photo you just showed, that the night of the, no, they couldn't because the body's just been moved off the carpet. But yeah, I truly believe they did not treat it as serious as what they made it out to be on the first appearance. And that's why they came back the second time. That's why they came back the third time. You know, that's what I'm just saying for what I'm saying. It. Continue, guys.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find the other report now. Where is that?
Well, here's a question. Why do you think they think that he was guilty within 2 hours? Is it because of the body, the way that the body condition was?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Okay, so what really? Well, here's an open question for everybody. What do you think was the reason why they said in that article that he was guilty within 2 hours? Was it because of the way the body was, the condition of the body, and there was a weapon on the floor? Is that the reason why they think?
They never stated, as far as I know, they never clarified.
I'm glad that you brought that up, because that was another big thing, and that was another reason why we wanted as much photos as possible of what did you guys see? Now we have the photos, we have the actual video. You walk into this house and everybody can go and look at the photos, it's a video, it's 13 minutes maybe, but look at those and see. If you walk into this home, does this look like a double murder and a suicide, a double murder and a suicide? Would you be able to tell that? I mean, that's always been a big question. There's no way you can walk into this home and say, yeah, double murder, suicide. You have blood on the freaking wall here. You have blood on a laptop over here. You have blood on a notepad in a separate room. You have a dog running up over here. You know, it does not make any sense. The only thing they can say, oh, okay, well, the gun is next to David. That's it. And of course, you know, his left hand is the only hand left, so he must have used his left hand and shot himself. I mean, that's not how police work does. I've never known any police officers. Every police officer that I've spoken to about this case is like, no. And do the Apple Valley Police live in a time warp? No. I mean, have you looked at some of their training too? They're trained for this stuff, regardless if they're a small company, if they're a small. These guys know. They know what they're doing, and they are doing several different tasks too. Sure, but come on, there is not one of those officers that are in that house that walk through it, and it's like a 5-minute clip. The officers walk through this house and they clear it. Do you really think they're thinking, oh yeah, this guy must have killed his family? No, they see 3 dead bodies. They see this dog that's running around crazy. They see, nothing else in this house. All of this weird stuff, and nobody else is there with the open rear slider. Do you really think the police that walked into this house are thinking double murder, suicide? Hell no, no way. I'm just not buying that. So it has to come from the top, in my view.
It's going to cost us too much money and resources to investigate it. Therefore, let's just cover this up. Yep.
Yeah, but if there's still a killer out, that's going to cost you even more money and more resources, because it could happen again. And even if it's not by the same people, like I said, you have now a copycat people. This is like an open door saying, hey guys, all you got to do is make it look like a double murder and a suicide, and you can do this too. I mean, this is a killer's dream here. And that's another reason why we want to put so much focus on this case, to let people know, no, you're not going to get away with something like this so quickly. Not going to happen.
And here's another thing that I've been doing on my own about Minnesota. Their police department, well, the state of Minnesota, their police department is so corrupt from the top to bottom. They don't do the justice that they are serving for the public. I'm not saying every police officer is bad, but the state of Minnesota, they had so much problems, so many problems in their police department, so many.
Okay, I'm going to go back to showing you guys what Sophia was asking me about, how the bodies were positioned. So I'm going to pull that up here. Let me do the screen share again. Select items to share. Take that off. Oh, this is so weird that I have to actually have them showing. Okay, and then this.
There you go. Is that the one?
Okay, initial drawing. Okay, those two. So apply changes. Okay, so can you see this initial drawing?
Yes.
Okay, let me kind of.
There you go. That looks good.
Okay, and on here, this is the couch. The window would be over here, the tree over here, the front door. And we see David and Camille is like right up here next to the couch. And you see they're almost, is that perpendicular to each other? Okay, they're lying side by side, like straight up and down, right?
Yep.
Now, let me show you the stains on the rug. Now, according to the drawing, Camille, and we know she was here facing this way, right? And David was legs here facing this way. Mm-hmm. So why is there decomp stains over here? With decomp stains here and decomp stains here. It doesn't match the positions of the bodies at all.
Yeah, the dog moved the body. Okay.
No, that's what they keep trying to tell us. So this is another thing that has jumped out to a lot of people. This is clearly decomp right here, and right in this area, and in here. But yet she was here facing this way with her legs this way, and little Rania here. And then David was here with his legs here and his body up here and his arms out this way, because here's the chair. So his arm is here, his other arm over here. But the decomp is so it doesn't match up. And again, it's like they don't even question this. They don't stop to even go, oh, wait a second, there's something wrong here.
Yeah, if you went back to the drawing.
Oh, okay. Let me go back.
No,
sorry.
Well, you don't have to. I can just say it myself.
Okay.
If Camille was lying parallel to the rug, right, and the daughter lying parallel to the rug in a straight line,
right?
Wouldn't you think there'd be more blood on the floorboard?
There should be. There should. In a decomp pattern should be right here, yep. But we see a line of decomp right here, and we see a huge decomp right here, and then some here, and then this here. So if they're this way, why are the stains this way? Right. It just doesn't make sense.
Just go to show you. The Guinness Book of World Record, 2 hours. You can't make this up.
And
what more is there need to prove to the doubters on this? I mean, okay, I'm not making their opinions up for them, but what I'm trying to say is that people need to take the blindfolds off, and more importantly, yes, everyone's opinion is valid, whether you're right or wrong, but sometimes you need to take the cotton wools out of your ears and put them in your mouth and just listen to reason for once in a while, and then come back. And this has taught me a great deal. You know, when you have to observe everything before you can make a conclusion. You just have to.
Yeah, and Sophia just brought something up to my attention, and it was an excellent point. So as soon as I find this, I would like to bring this to your attention. Oh, in fact, I think I can do it with just this one right now. So I'm going to share it one more time. Sorry about all this,
That's okay.
The constant sharing.
I think you're getting good at the sharing here.
Finally figuring it out. Okay, so we know that David's body was lying this direction, correct? At least in the photo that they have provided, this is roughly the position the bodies are found. Mm-hmm. Again, the window's here. The left side of his head, which is where the exit wound was, on this side of his head, facing the window, right? And so the entrance had to have been somewhere on the right side of his head. It's because if it's exiting this way, but which there is no blood spatter on the bookshelf, on the window, or on the curtains. And right. It's just a mere few feet away. But we do know there's the exit wound that they could see on the head. Now,
however, there is a bullet hole in the front door.
Now, I'm getting to that. Hold on a second. And here's the point. This is the whole point of this. The exit, and this is what I'm trying to stress that. The exit, it's going this way. The trajectory is this way. Now, the bullet hole is up this way, and it's here. It's going in this direction, but yet his exit wound is this direction. And they're trying to say that this was the bullet that killed David. Now, how could a bullet that's up here in the ceiling somewhere with a trajectory of this direction come out of a head with a bullet trajectory going this way?
Mm-hmm. It should have gone into that wall or through
the window. Yep, the window for sure.
What about the blood that they find next to the window, next to the light switch?
It was a couple drops. It would have been a lot more than that, Greg.
But you have the tree. You have the Christmas tree there too.
Okay. The Christmas tree.
Let's look at this drawing though. Right here, Greg. Here's the black spot on the wall. Right here. Right here's the 30-something. Let me get closer so we can. Oops. Sorry, wrong direction.
Too close.
Here's the spot, the 33 on the wall. This is right by the light switch right here.
Okay.
And again, it's going this way. The bullet is going this way. And there's one spot or a couple spots here, but there's a tree here. So how could that tree be blocking something that's going this way? It's not going, now if the trajectory was going this way, it would make sense, but it's not. It's going this way. So and which is why they really should have done the laser or the string to find out where the actual, follow these drops of blood and find out where the actual events occurred. And they could have done that, but they didn't.
Could it be possible that when you go through the front door that the person or person went into the kitchen and fired from that direction, from the kitchen?
Well, the kitchen would be here.
Yeah.
And again, with the bullet hole in the ceiling, it's this way.
Yeah.
So if you're here, and there's really just no way. I'm not saying they couldn't have shot from the kitchen, but I don't know how that would have happened. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, coming through the back door. I think that was one of the early theories. One of the things, Jamie, when we did the first show with the Sentinels of Truth, and we were asking that, and I think a couple of the guys were like, "Yeah, it looks like somebody came in through that back door, opened it up, fired at David, maybe, or something like that."
It had to be from the front door.
And it's where you talk about that one item 33 that's next to the switch that is the only one mentioned. There's no blood mentioned on the Christmas tree.
Correct.
But they don't test item 33 either.
Right.
Which is another thing. It's just like, I don't know. I just don't understand a lot of that, and I know the big thing as well, they just didn't have resources, they didn't have time. But look at what they did have resources and time for. I mean, I don't know. 34 is definitely a big one, but 33 would have probably helped, because that's probably the only blood on that wall. So obviously it should be David's, and if it's David's, okay, then you would pretty much know that would have to do with wherever David was shot, it would have to be tied to that. But again, because we don't have that. Like so many other things, the dog feces, the recliner, it just leaves the door open to a lot of speculation.
And here's another point that I want to make, that the curtains were open at all times, weren't they? That in the lounge room, the curtains were open, and yet no one saw anything.
Doesn't that seem hard to believe?
Yeah.
Well, do you guys think we should wrap this up for today? Because we still have some other shows to do later.
I know. Just before you go, Greg, I do have the new mask. I told the ladies last night I bought me the new mask.
Did you really? All right.
It's not Spider-Man.
It's not Spider-Man? Oh, come on. All right.
Well, okay. I'll give you double whammy tomorrow. I'll do Spider-Man and the new one. But I want to do the new one first, so you can guess who it is.
Okay, we can do hour 1 with one, hour 2 with the other, and go from there, I guess.
Yeah. But I want to say thanks for allowing me to participate. Yes, it is early in the morning, and I want to say Happy Halloween from Australia. It is Halloween here now in Australia.
Is it really? Man, my time zone with you guys is all messed up. You guys mess everything up for me, so it's all right.
Hey.
Okay.
I'll probably just send you guys a jar of Vegemite.
I still need to learn what that is.
Do you guys see anything wrong with the screen right now? And Greg, can you tell me how to fix it?
Yeah, I think if you just stop the screen share.
Okay. Oh, okay. Let me.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay. I thought I'd done that. I'm so sorry. I thought I had done that.
Well, I know this is not. Do you want to see the mask now or not? No.
No,
you want a teaser?
Oh, come on. Show us the mask. You are so proud of this thing.
Let's see it.
Do you really want to show it right now?
Yeah, we want to see it.
All right, just give me a couple of seconds. I'll have to turn my video off. Give me a couple of seconds.
I'll have my candy thing here for tomorrow.
No, the new day. The
new day. That's right.
All right.
So, are we, Greg? Are we doing a show with Jaime tomorrow, or is it tonight?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Okay.
So October 30th. California time, 9 p.m.
Okay, and then tonight it's with Billy.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Leatherface, huh?
Ooh.
Leatherface or my ex-neighbor in San Francisco. Either one would be the same.
That should scare the kids.
I've got Leatherface for you, mate. I've got Leatherface.
Okay. As long as the audio works with the mask on, no problem. You may have to pump up the audio a little bit.
Well, you can actually hear me a bit now. You can hear me?
Yeah.
I'm all right.
Yeah, okay. Do you have a chainsaw, though? Because you need some props. You have a knife.
I'll probably have to go up to the hardware store to buy myself a chainsaw.
Can you wear that mask when you buy the chainsaw?
I can. I've actually got I've got a funnel neck shirt that's been ripped off the sleeve. I'm gonna wear that tomorrow.
There you go. All right.
Oh man.
That's a good preview for everyone, I think, for tomorrow night. I will be I'll have my Bible next to me, but that's fine.
Did we lose Jaime, or is he still there?
I think he's
I had to take it off.
Okay. That was great.
There you go. You guys are the first to see it.
All right. Exclusive right here.
Yeah. $25 Australian that cost me.
All right. What's the conversion rate for US dollars?
25 Australian would be about I don't know, anywhere between $15 to $20 American.
Okay. Oh wow, so it's more expensive over there for you guys, huh?
Yeah.
Cool.
But I had a choice of 3. I got Leatherface or the one with the pins in its face.
That would have been
Pinhead, yeah.
Yeah. No, the I think the movie was Poltergeist.
Was that Hellraiser?
Hellraiser, sorry, yeah, Hellraiser, with all the had the red squares on his face with all the pins in it.
Pins, yeah.
And another one was like a zombie with his eyeball hanging out with a hand over his head. And I said, no, well, we were talking to Eric, and Eric said that his favourite film was Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I said, I got Leatherface, so I picked this one.
Perfect.
And Eric did say he may call in tomorrow night. He might where he is, so he may call in tomorrow night from his destination. So he's going to be doing trick or treating somewhere in Michigan. So he'll be joining tomorrow.
Good. We're gonna need to know everything everything that he's up to and all the trouble he's causing. We need it on record. So.
Hey, why didn't David Crowley wear this? No, I don't want to go there.
Well, this conversation today would really be helpful for all the new members. We could point out some of the really
That's true.
Oh gosh, stupid word slipped my mind. we could point out all the pertinent details, and then we've already discussed it, so I think it would be great.
Sure.
And we do need to work on that project, Greg.
Yeah, I need to find some time to put it all into different bullet points, and I was thinking, well, maybe we don't need a script. Now I'm starting to think that we do need a script, and maybe what I'll do is we'll create a list of all the different shows that we need, and maybe Catherine, maybe Jaime, if you guys want to take, I can do this one on this list, and then that way we can get them all done. For new members who want to get quickly caught up on just a certain thing, like, what do we know about David's gun? Okay, we'll do a short minute video on that. What do we know about, how many bullets were found, how many bullet casings were found at the scene, and, what was tested, et cetera, et cetera. Short videos like that, I think, will help people when they're doing their own, when they're looking at this case on their own time, and they're like, well, okay, instead of going back to look at all of the documents, I can watch this short video and kind of really get caught up quickly. So we want to make it as easy for people as possible.
It's a great idea.
Cool.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody, for joining us today, and thank you, Greg, for jumping in and doing all the hard work, because I couldn't figure out how not to share my screen. And again, we hope next time, everybody, if you have questions, you can either send them to any of us or write them in the group or join us next time. And we really wish Allison and Jason could have joined us, and William could have joined us today, but understand what happened. And again, thank you guys, and just never stop searching.
Awesome.
Hopefully in the future we could get other group members to be more active. I mean, it's pretty cool to be able to see people's faces and talk to them and bounce ideas off of them and stuff. So I need to invite other group members to join us. We're not the only ones. You guys.
Yeah, and even if they don't want their face shown, they can always either send in the questions or just go on and not show their video. They can have their voice. There's lots of options. So.
Yeah, for the longest time I just called it in.
Mm-hmm. I just want to add, you don't want to say my ugly face first thing in the morning. I got up at 5 o'clock to come on here, and but I managed to be all right. I'll do all right.
Thank you for sucking it up and being here.
Thank you.
I know your jaw's so sore from last night. And this is just me. I'm a sense of humorous guy. I think
that's a good thing.
It is. I won't put a shrimp on the barbie. I'll put a prawn on the barbie.
There you go. Upper class.
And just for the record, what will Paul Hogan would have said, or Crocodile Dundee? Imagine if he rocked up to David Crowley's place and saw the knife. What do you think Paul Hogan would have said?
That's not a knife. This is a knife. I wish I had my machete, because that would have been perfect.
That would have been.
Exactly. Now we're getting it. Let the Australian icon do the investigation. We will get done. We will make out that this investigation be all over in 30 seconds, not 2 hours.
Too funny, guys.
Yeah, it is.
All right.
Enough with that.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and shut this one down then right here.
Yeah.